political, no, moving away from the economic to the political argument, and the question that I'm going to ask Dr. Sen of the TMC is that if price rise, unemployment, these were the real issues in breaking the back of the middle class and the lower middle class in this country, Dr. Santanu Sen, why is it then that the BJP is winning election after election? In the recently concluded state assembly elections also, they won 4 out of 5.
On the contrary, I must tell you, in last few years, 19 allies of NDA, they have left BJP. The presence of BJP has significantly come down from 75% to around 40-42%. So for the vote share is concerned, if you calculate, yeah, BJP is winning, that's fair enough. Because the process of winning we know. The way they are dismantling the stable government everywhere, the way they have been utilizing the central agencies, particularly against the opposition leaders, the way they are trying to purchase votes and the way they are trying to purchase the leaders as well from different other opposition political parties. Now it has been crystal clear to the entire country. BJP, the final bell has started ringing. You can clearly read the wall writing. Just wait for 1.5 years. Let the parliament election take place in 2024, when all the oppositions will get united and they will be giving a big thrust to BJP. Then they will realize what is what. Because entire country is burning. People are not having food. Highest employment is in last 45 years.
Sir, if I may, with your permission, the fact is that during 2 years of lockdown or 1.5 years of lockdown, I have not come across, at least it's not been reported in the mainstream media, of people dying because of starvation. People have died because of COVID, people have died because of lack of oxygen, but I have not come across an instance of people dying because of lack of food.
You just go through the hunger index.
Be that as it may.
One second.
Okay.
During COVID, you have seen dead bodies floating.
Ma'am, 1 second. I'll come back to you. Have 30 seconds patience, ma'am. I'm coming back to you. Yeah, Dr. Santanu Sen, finish your point. 30 seconds. Yes.
No,
I believe you remember you have seen dead bodies floating on the rivers during COVID. And so far the hunger index is concerned, just see the statistics, see the ranking of India in the hunger index.
Okay, you made that point. Okay, Sanju Verma now to respond. Yes.
Of food.
Okay, Sanju Verma to respond.
Zakka, first and foremost, let me make it very clear that despite 2 black swan events, we had a black swan event called the COVID pandemic in more than 100 years. We had the second black swan event called the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Despite that, India was the fastest growing economy last year at 8.7%, and the IMF says even this year at 7.4%, India will be the fastest growing economy. So I think the Congress, the Aam Aadmi Party and the Trinamool Congress spokespeople need to educate themselves. Today, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, at more than 45 crore bank accounts, India has the world's largest financial inclusion scheme called the Jan Dhan Yojana. India has the world's largest health insurance scheme called Ayushman Bharat. Garib Kalyan Yojana, which was feeding more than 81 crore people every month during the COVID lockdown, is the world's largest food security program. We have built more than 11 crore toilets under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is the world's largest sanitation program. The Congress spokesperson was sitting and giving me a bhashan. Salt ka daam itna hua hai. Onion prices have gone up this much. Let me tell you, sanitation rate under Congress was 39%. Rural network coverage was just 54%. Banking coverage was just 51% under Congress. Electricity coverage was just 47%. Today under Narendra Modi, sanitation coverage, rural electricity coverage, rural road coverage, banking coverage is close to 100%. And let me tell you...
But ma'am, will all of this make up for price rise or will all of this make up for lack of jobs? That's the question opposition is asking. No, please answer the question. All of this is great. All of this is fine. But will it make up for price rise? Will it make up for lack of jobs? That's what the opposition is asking. Yeah.
I'm coming to that. In India, price rise has already peaked out, which is what the numbers of the last 2 months show. Core inflation has come down to 6%. And the most important thing is that with the RBI deciding to hike repo rate, excess liquidity is being sucked out, and I think by the next year, maybe first quarter or so, inflation should come down to 5% or thereabouts.
Okay.
Speaking of jobs, I just want to add a small thing to what Mr. Mohandas Pai said. Actually, Mr. Pai has been very conservative, and he's saying, 7 crore jobs have been added. There is another report which says that every month, as per EPFO Zakka 13 lakh people are being registered, which means every year 1.56 crore, which means in the last 7 to 8 years, more than 12 crore people have entered the formal sector.
Okay.
The Congress is only talking rhetoric.
Okay,
And
let Jasmine Shah respond to that. You've made your point, ma'am. I've given you uninterrupted time. Let Jasmine Shah now respond, please. Yes. Jasmine.
Zakka, what is happening is, the BJP spokespeople very neatly cherry picking numbers. You can cite EPFO data, but there's a reason why it's called EPFO data and not the unemployment data for the entire country that represents every sector. Because if you were to look at that, the data for June alone by CMI, which is one of the most rigorous surveys, shows that in just 1 month, 13 million jobs have been lost, majority of them in the rural areas. Does your EPFO data collect that? No. Second, tell me today, as we're entering into the 75th year, can we at least agree as a country that education and health must be the top priority? And like the Kejriwal government spends in Delhi, 25% of the budget is being spent in education, 15% in health. The average all over the country is 10 or 12%. Can BJP, can all other parties agree that आप बोलते रहते हैं कि education, health, but you are never willing to spend. You charge, fees even from government school students, but you have no qualms spending money on loan waivers, corporate tax cuts, forgiving the loans of your friends. So please, when you talk about education and health, please walk the talk. Please agree first of spending 25% of your budget in education,
Okay.
not charging a single student a fee.
I'll give the final word to Mr. Pai. Mr. Pai, 1 minute. I have to wrap up in 1 minute. Yeah, final word.
Again, the gentleman
Mr. Pai, yeah.
is lying because in Delhi is a special case. The cost of the police in Delhi is borne by all of us outside Delhi. The union government spent a lot of money on other programs, on infrastructure, everything Delhi government does not spend. So let us not say Delhi is a model, because Delhi is a special case where all of us spend money to keep the Delhiites in good humor. Punjab is the classical case. How much money in Punjab is spent on health and education? That is the classical case. If the AAP government is able to increase it to 40% like he says in Delhi, hats off to them. They should rule the whole country because they have done a fantastic job. But Punjab is broke. They're not able to keep the promise of 1,000 rupees per woman. Anyway, that's a different issue.
Okay.
Now, Zakka, we should understand one important thing before we sign off. Subsidy to people who are poor for food, education, health is required. I don't think anybody should grudge. Freebies like TV, giving 1,000 rupees per woman, every woman in a state, these are all wrong, and these freebies should be stopped.
All right.
We must put money into infrastructure, job creation, into higher education, skill development, to make sure people get jobs and economic advancement.
All right.
Freebies should stop. Subsidies are okay.
I'm afraid I have to wrap up the debate on that note. I want to thank all our guests. We've had a